So welcome to the first week of this 12-week run. So over the last sort of school, I've been running this as part of a kind of a school term system. So from September, a 12-week block, from January, a 12-week block, and then now we're into spring, another 12-week block. So we're going to be reviewing some of the practices that you may already be familiar with, and bearing in mind that even if you have done these practices before, that you are arriving today as not a new person, but we're meeting ourselves where we are as we are today. So you've not done this practice today, so holding that in mind, bringing that beginner's mind to the practice. And those of you who are beginners, you have a window into this experience that as experienced practitioners, you kind of envy a little bit of that newness, that beginner's mind. So just taking a moment to arrive in this body scan, making sure that you're comfortable, that you have perhaps something beneath your head, around that thickness, something beneath your knees perhaps to support your lower spine. So taking a moment to arrive. Closing your eyes if that feels comfortable, or focusing on a point in front of you if you're sitting, or above you if you're lying down. If you're feeling particularly tired today and you're lying down, it can be helpful to have your eyes open. The intention of the practices is to fall awake, not fall asleep. However, if you do fall asleep, this is not a moment to criticize or judge yourself. This is your body telling you that you're tired. So within these practices, we are learning to listen to the language of our body, dropping from our thinking, analyzing, judging minds into the space of our bodies. We're learning to notice and to pay attention with present moment awareness. There's no right or wrong way of doing these practices. We will nod off on occasion. Our minds will wander 1,000 times. That's what they do, it's their job. And we're just taking this time to notice, to practice mindfulness, a very specific and deliberate way of exploring what it is to be in our bodies. So just taking a moment to check that you're comfortable, as comfortable as you can be. You are warm enough, you are cool enough. And I'm now going to invite you to bring your attention to your breath. Simply breathing in and breathing out. So we're not changing the rhythm in any way, we're simply observing the breath as it is. I'm going to invite you to find a point within the breath that is most vivid for you in this moment. Could be at the nostrils or the back of the throat, or maybe the rise and fall of your chest or your belly. Just spending a few moments finding somewhere that you can notice your breath. And if the breath isn't somewhere that feels comfortable for you today, I'm going to invite you to find a neutral part of your body. Sort of observing your breath from the sidelines, like you might be watching a football match. You don't need to get right into the center of the breath. It can be an uncomfortable place to be. You don't need to push yourself to be there. When we explore present moment awareness, we have an opportunity to observe ourselves as impartial witnesses, the habits and tendencies, and the way that we talk to ourselves. So if the breath is not somewhere that you want to rest, finding somewhere within the body that's neutral, there's no juicy story, no judgments. It could be the crown of your head, your left earlobe, your right big toe, the crease behind your knee. And what we're doing is finding an anchor for ourselves so that when we get lost in the practice, or there are perhaps parts of the body that you don't want to explore, that you can bring your attention here, that you can bring your focus and attention to this neutral part of your breath or your body each time your mind has wandered off. Each time we explore somewhere you don't want to rest, you can bring yourself here to this part of your breath or your body to explore and observe and be interested in. Once you've found it, now I invite you to bring your attention all the way down your body to your left big toe. What, if anything, can you notice in your left big toe? Does it feel warm, cool, tingling, heavy, light? Are there shapes, colors, textures? Exploring what, if anything, you notice in your left big toe. And if you can't notice anything, what is the nothingness? And now moving your attention away from your left big toe to your left little toe. What, if anything, can you notice here? And now moving your attention away from the left little toe to the toes in between. What, if anything, can you notice here? The contact, perhaps, that they're making with each other, the joints, the nail beds, the fabric of your sock, the weight of a blanket, the air around those toes. Being interested and curious in yourself, in your body. As we narrow and widen our focus, and now moving your attention away from the toes altogether to the base of the left foot. So the ball of the foot, the heel, the arch, the texture of the skin, the creases. Shining a spotlight or maybe a torch beam, or I had somebody describing sort of colouring themselves in when they did this practice. Or the French use the words sweeping, using a brush to sweep around, scan, explore, be interested and notice in whatever way works for you. the base of your left foot. Where does it begin and end? And then moving your attention away from the base of the left foot to the top of the left foot. So perhaps noticing the tightness of the skin, and there's so many tendons and ligaments here. What is present for you? What's quiet? Noticing. And now moving your attention away from the left foot altogether and bringing your focus to your left ankle. What's here? Where does the ankle begin and end? Is it a clear line for you, or does it sort of fade away? Bringing a childlike curiosity and interest in yourself, your body. Our ankles often go pretty unnoticed unless we stumble and trip and twist them or bang that ankle bone into something. What do you notice in your ankle? Is it warm? Is it cool? Is it heavy, light? Tingling textures? And now moving your attention away from the left ankle to the left lower leg between the knee joint and the ankle joint. The bone, the muscle, the contact with the earth or the chair if you're sitting, the fabric of your clothes. Each time your mind wanders off, finding something more important to explore or plan or think about, I want you to congratulate yourself for noticing and return yourself back to that anchor that you found earlier, or the part of the body that we're exploring right now, which is the left lower leg between the knee joint and the ankle. It's in the noticing that these neural pathways get laid down. This is why I'm encouraging a congratulations. The noticing is the key to the practice. So moving your attention away from the left lower leg to the left upper leg. So if you didn't explore the knee joint in the left lower leg, an invitation to have a little play here, exploring what's here. From the knee to your hip joint, the thigh, the bone, the muscle. Does it feel light or heavy? Does it have a color, texture, a shape? Are there movements? Are there quiet bits and louder bits? Notice discomfort here, or perhaps pleasant sensations. Exploring what exactly they are. What are the felt sensations? Where do they begin? Where do they end? Being kind and curious to your experience of your left upper leg. Our bodies are fairly unsentimental and just get on with it. Go fairly unnoticed unless they're causing us discomfort or pleasure. So an invitation now to expand your awareness from your left upper leg to include the lower leg and the foot. So holding your left leg in your mind's eye as a whole. And this is an invitation, so you don't have to do this. But we're going to be playful with the breath. So if this feels right for you, you go for it. So holding that left leg in your mind's eye as a whole, I'm going to picture breathing in and breathing into the left leg and out of the left leg, in whatever way or analogy works for you. So some people like to breathe in and out through their toes. Some people may fill the leg with air, like pouring water from a jug, or breathing in like a balloon, or simply observing the breath. This doesn't feel right for you. Just following a few more breaths into the left leg and out of the left leg. Remembering there's no right, wrong way of doing this practice. And now moving your attention away from the left leg altogether and bringing the spotlight of your awareness to your right upper leg. All the way down past the knee and the ankle joint to your right big toe. What, if anything, can you notice here? Nail bed, pad of the toe. And now moving your attention to the right little toe. Our little toes are so important for balance. That tiny nail, barely worth painting. We paint our toenails. But if we catch it on a chair leg or bang it into something, or our shoes rub, it causes so much pain. But for the most part, like the majority of our bodies, it goes fairly unnoticed for the most part of our days. What, if anything, can you notice in your right little toe? Really, very sentimental about the toes. And then moving your attention away from the little toe to the toes in between. What, if anything, can you notice here? The nail beds, the pads, the joints, the skin, the fabric of your sock, the coolness of the air. And then moving your attention away from the toes altogether and bringing your awareness to the base of your right foot. The heel, the ball of the foot, the side, the arch, the texture of the skin. Being curious and interested and kind. What's here, what's present. Noticing how the mind creates stories and images, and as best you can, dropping into the felt sensation of what you're noticing. in your right foot, in the base of the right foot, sole, as we explore our bodies together, our various corners of the world, our various time zones. We are held as part of a group, practicing mindfulness, this present moment awareness. And then moving your attention away from the base of the right foot to the top of the right foot. The skin, the tendons, the ligaments, sensations. Exploring what you notice and what's present for you. Your mind will drag you off into other things. More exciting things to think about than the top of your right foot. But for now, in this space, we're bringing our attention to our bodies and what we notice here, anchoring in the present moment. In the mundane and the ordinary, what it is to be in our bodies, perhaps taking a moment to notice quite how extraordinary we all are. And then moving your attention away from the right foot to your right ankle. What can you notice here? Perhaps it feels hot, or maybe cool, or tingling, or maybe it's throbbing or aching. As best you can, dropping into the felt sensation of what you notice, moving away from the story, or the judgments, or the criticisms, simply exploring what's here and what you notice. That childlike curiosity and interest. Temperatures, shapes, colors, textures, maybe there's even sounds or tastes. No limits. Being playful. And then moving your attention away from the ankle to your right lower leg, so between the knee joint and the ankle joint. That's noticing the contact that you're making with the earth or the chair, or the fabric of your clothes against your skin. The bone, the muscle, the skin, the hairs, tendons and ligaments, warmth, coolness, nerves and blood flowing around, doing what they need to do. Very little instruction from us. Just get on with it. And now an invitation to move your attention away from the right lower leg to the right upper leg, between the knee joint and the hip joint. And again, if you didn't explore the knee joint and the lower leg, have a little look here. Knee joints can be juicy parts of our bodies, or aches and hotness. What do you notice? Maybe you have impeccable knees. That floating patella that we're not born with, that grows, develops with us. The heaviness of the muscle, the lightness that you're noticing, perhaps. The contact with the earth or your chair. Where does that contact begin and end? Sensations of contact and touch, skin, against fabric, clothes. Your thigh is supported by the earth beneath it. And now an invitation to expand your awareness from the upper leg past the knee to include the lower leg and the foot. And again, an invitation to be playful with that breath, to breathe into the space of the right leg and breathe out of the space of the right leg. Perhaps this gives a sense of spaciousness. Perhaps it feels a bit silly. Giving it a go. Or simply observing your breath from that anchor, that neutral part of your body. Your breath and that anchor are there for you at any point within the practice. We're exploring the body where you don't want to be, or perhaps you don't have those toes or that organ that I plop in as I'm discussing our bodies, exploring them. You can bring your attention to that neutral point of the body or your breath at any moment in the practice. Breathing into the space of the right leg and breathing out of the space of the right leg. And then just as we held our right leg in our attention, we're now going to move it away, move our minds away to exploring the trunk area of the body. And in this instance, we're going to take a cross section of below the belly button. So we've got the hips, got the buttocks, the sacrum. We've got the softness of the skin, got the hardness of bone. This pelvic girdle area that holds and cradles really important organs. The lower part of our waist. So shining the spotlight of your awareness around the lower part of the trunk, from the belly button and below. What, if anything, can you notice here? Contact with the earth, perhaps bubbling, your bowels. What's quiet? What's difficult to notice? What sensations can you notice in your belly button? The softness of your lower belly allows your organs to move and expand and contract and do what they need to do. And the bones that protect them, the skin that holds it all in. Stepping away from the stories and dropping into the felt sensations of what you can notice here, if anything. And now moving your attention away from the lower part of the trunk, and we're going to explore the middle. We're going to do a cross section of the middle bit. So sort of from the belly button to the lower rib cage, the chest, the sides of the waist, the middle back. You've got the lower parts of the lungs and the liver and kidneys and stomach here. Can you notice the breath here? Perhaps the gentle pressure of the ribs at the back. If you're lying down, you might notice them slightly push into the floor. Very subtle movement. Maybe noticing it from the sides as well. The fabric of your clothes against your skin, the contact with the earth. Exploring what you notice, the shapes, the colours, the textures, the movements. Being playful and interested and curious about your experience, your body. Noticing the stories and the judgments and congratulating yourself. And then kindly but firmly bringing yourself back to the present moment in the middle part of the trunk, or that neutral anchor within the body or the breath. And then moving your attention away from the middle part of the trunk to the upper part of the body. So the shoulders, the upper part of the chest, and the back. Another sort of area of hotspots for tightness and tension and discomfort. What can you notice here in this moment? Can you notice the subtle beat of your heart? The breath can be a bit more vivid here. That rise and fall of your body pulls air in and takes from it what it needs. And the exhale as it pushes it out. Not changing the rhythm of our breath, but simply being with it as it is and noticing it. That feels right for you. And now an invitation to expand your awareness from the upper back to the middle back, the lower back, the lower belly, the belly and the chest and upper chest. So holding your trunk in your mind's eye as a whole and being playful with that breath. Again, don't have to do this if it doesn't feel right for you, but simply breathing in and breathing out this part of your body. Perhaps giving a sense of spaciousness. Giving yourself some space. And now moving your attention away from the trunk area altogether, and we're going to explore our arms. We're going to do both of them at the same time. So going down the shoulders, past the elbows to your hands. What, if anything, you can notice here? Maybe your hands are held together. Maybe they're resting on your body, on the floor beside you. Maybe they feel warm, tingling. Can you notice the nail beds, the different textures of the skin from the back of the hand and palms of the hand? that playful, curious interest, tingling, warmth, coolness, either sweaty or dry. Not changing anything, we're simply being with things as they are, observing, exploring, learning to listen to the language of our bodies and the messages that they send us that go so ignored. Being impartial witness to ourselves. Observing our bodies and the sensations that we're noticing. Don't need to fix anything, simply be with things as they are. So moving your attention away from your hands and bringing your awareness to your lower arms between the wrist and the elbow joint. That soft crease, the softness of the skin, where it transitions to our upper arm, to the upper part of the lower arm. So where the hair is, never know what to call this part of the body. This is sort of where we get our suntan. The difference in textures of skin within our body that adjusts and does this without us having to tell it what to do. What's present for you? What can you notice here? And then moving your attention away from the lower arms to the upper arms. So the elbow joint to the shoulder, the bicep, the tricep. These are the only muscles that I consistently remember the name of. The bone, perhaps the warmth of your armpit or the coolness of your armpit. Shining the spotlight of your awareness around your upper arms and what, if anything, you can notice here. You may not notice anything. What is that? Dropping into the felt sensation of your upper arms. Contact with the earth, the fabric of skin, the air. Feel heavy or light. Your mind will wander. It's what minds do. And now an invitation to hold your arms in your mind's eye as a whole. And using that breath to breathe into and out of your arms. Again, remembering this is an invitation. Simply breathing in and breathing out of the arms, or resting in that anchor within the body or the breath. And then just as we brought our attention to our arms, we're going to move it away and bring our attention to our neck, the back of the neck, the front of the neck, the sides, the airways. Perhaps you can notice the breath here, the swallowing of saliva. Your body separates the two, not all the time. Boy, do we notice when we are rushing, drinking or eating, and notice going down the wrong way. What can you notice here now? Our necks can be a place of tension and tightness. supporting the heaviness of our heads for most of the day, most of our waking hours. It's an invitation to check in with your posture if you're sitting. And then moving your attention away from your neck to your scalp. What, if anything, can you notice here? If you're lying down, perhaps the contact with the earth. If you're sitting up, perhaps the warmth or coolness, tingling. Where does your scalp begin and end? Are there shapes, colours, textures, movements? And then moving from the scalp up and over to the forehead. What can you notice here? Is your brow smoothed or furrowed? Does it feel warm? Cool. You notice the air. The texture. And then moving down from the scalp and the forehead to the eyes. If your eyes are open, what can you see? What colours, textures, movements? If you've got your eyes closed, what can you notice behind your eyelids? The colours, the textures, little bits floating by like islands. Are your eyes darting around, or are they still? And then moving your attention to your nose. Does it feel warm or cool? Can you notice the breath? And then moving your attention to your cheeks. What's here? And then your lips. The air that touches them. The sensation of your mouth closed, your tongue, your jaw, your teeth. Perhaps running your tongue over the hole. Is it closed or open? Where does your tongue rest in your mouth? Are you clenching your jaw, or is it relaxed? We're not changing anything, we're simply observing and noticing things as they are. So expanding your awareness from your face to your scalp, to your neck, your arms, your trunk, your right leg and your left leg, and holding your body in your mind's eye as a whole one last time to be playful with that breath. If that feels right for you, breathing into and out of each nook and cranny of your body. And then narrowing your attention to your breath, following the flow of your breath as you breathe in and you breathe out. And then expanding that awareness to include all of your body. Having a sense of the contact with the earth, the air that touches your skin. Where do you begin and end? Where are you no longer you? As we bring this practice to a close, I'm going to read a poem by Ron Padgett. Now you see it. What you don't see helps you see what you do see. The keyhole sharpens the thrill in your brain. Even if there's no one in the room, shadows wafting across the white sheets as a song drifts in the window. Her voice so pure you can see the face it rises from. But what you see helps you see what you don't see. So moving and stretching in whatever way your body is asking of you. So you might want to walk around your room. And we're going to move to taking a cup of tea together. If you don't have a cup of tea, I have a spare cup here that you can observe me making. And the idea of this taking tea together is practicing making the transition from a mindfulness practice into the everyday and the ordinary and these mundane activities that we can use to anchor and drop into the present moment. And I am making you today some cistus incanus, which is rock rose. And this is what it looks like. So it's like tea. There's some similar taste to green tea, but it has no caffeine. Excuse me. The sounds, the colors, the textures, the shapes. Resting in companionable silence together. So I'm going to press pause on the recording and open up the space. For those of you practicing outside of the space, an invitation to press pause and perhaps journal or reflect on your direct experience of that practice as best you can, moving away from the stories and into what you notice, what surprised you, maybe what delighted you. So to close the space, I'm just going to share that the home practice for this week will be a 10-minute body scan. And the invitation is to, once a day, practice for 10 minutes. So I'll link that on the page, and there'll also be the poem there available for you. We're going to close with a 3-part breathing space, which is something that we'll be practicing more over the coming weeks. And let's just begin. So having a sense of arrival, you don't need to be in any particular position for this. So this is one practice that we can be learning to do wherever we are. The shopping queue, the waiting for the kettle to boil. So having a sense of your body. Doing a really quick body scan from your head, your arms, your trunk area, your left leg, your right leg, and just checking in with yourself. What's here? What can you notice? What's quiet? What's standing out? That impartial witness, not a moment to judge, just noticing. And then narrowing your attention to your breath. Breathing in, breathing out, not changing the rhythm, simply observing the breath. You could be following it as a whole. You could be focusing on one point in particular. You could perhaps be back at that neutral part of your body, observing your breath from the sidelines. And then expanding your awareness from your breath to include all of your body, of you breathing. The contact that you're making with the earth, the space above you, beneath you, beside you. Breathing. And just taking a moment to honor the time that you have taken out of your day, out of your busy life to be here. These techniques are simple, they're not easy. And that in being here, you're taking an active step in taking care of your health and your well-being. And as best you can, taking this sense of connection and awareness into whatever you have left to do with your day. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, if there is anything that came up within the practice you'd like to explore or to share or to inquire about, then please just send me an email or we can get in touch. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you in the next session.